All right, we're on.
So welcome to media availability and public access. We've been on the floor over the last hour and recognized the Utah Symphony today. It is the 5th day, the end of our first week. We have almost, not quite 6 weeks to go before the gavel ends, our session. But we've been passing a few bills. Again, I emphasize that most of the bills that we're passing right now are bills that have had committee hearings in our interim period before the session starts, and so they've had a lot of eyes on them. And you'll notice if you're watching our debate on the floor that there's not a lot of debate, mainly because we've seen these bills before and they're thoroughly understood. Those that don't have quite that vetting. As we get to those bills, you'll see more debate.
You think there'll be no more debate?
Unless our committees do a really good job, right?
There we go. That's a challenge.
So I'll go ahead and start with media questions from the media. Anybody?
Yeah.
Lee?
This morning I was at an appropriations subcommittee hearing that talked about a proposal from Governor Herbert to move $94 million that currently is in the general fund for transportation, move it to education. Governor has said that won't delay anything, and they were kind of pushing UDOT people saying, what would be the effect? And UDOT essentially said, well, we couldn't build as many projects over the long haul unless that money's replaced by something else. Do you see that kind of shift being approved unless you also do something like raise gas tax or some other transportation revenue?
Senator Adams?
Yeah, it's important we understand a little bit of the concept of why that money is there. Most of that money was put together by SB 229, and our budget, and I wish I had something I could graph on, but our general fund budget is like a roller coaster. It goes up very fast when the economy's good, and the reason for that is we spend a lot of money on cars and furniture and big ticket items that affect sales tax when the economy is good. When the economy slows down, those big ticket items, the purchase or sell of those items declines very fast. So we go up fast and down fast. And because all the income tax is dedicated to education, we kind of live on sales tax and we don't get hardly any property tax. So what's happened right now is 229 took 30% of the growth in that sales tax and has kind of set it aside. And as we look historically over what we've done, especially in the last downturn, our rainy day fund is all one-time money. And we can, even though 400 million sounds like a lot of money, that's not a lot of money, especially one time, meaning that only can be used on a temporary basis. And so what really saved us in the last downturn was the ongoing money that we were able to take off and use, and that came out of that transportation fund. So the question in my mind is, we have that, what I would say is a working rainy day fund, whether it's the proper time to take that money out of that fund or not, and whether it's better to wait for basically a rainy day when the economy turns down.
The House had an education initiative last year that wanted to take money out of the transportation fund. And the Senate's position last year was that's fine, but you need to replace it. And I think that that would probably be the sentiment this year.
Yeah, there's two other things besides the transportation fund. There's the building funds that we put ongoing revenue in, and you can pull it out because you put one-time money back in to keep it going that year. And traditionally, we've always funded with one-time money, so to be able to fund it with ongoing has been good. The second is, I still call AR9, but it's capital improvements. We have a statute to have 1.1% of the value of our buildings put in. It's about $120 million, if I remember the amount. And so there's been times we've had enough ongoing revenue, we could fund that with ongoing revenue, knowing it would be there every year. And sometimes we've had to pull it out, and that has been a savior to the state, is being able to pull it out and then plug one-time money in to keep it going.
So it had, I think, $100 million of ongoing revenue in it back when the downturn happened, and all the ongoing revenue was pulled out. And right now, we have restored it up to about $50 million of ongoing. So we haven't totally restored that up into $100 million of ongoing. So again, that's been our cushion as we hit these road bumps with the economy, along with transportation. So, you know, I don't see the money coming out personally unless we're able to replace it. And even if we are able to replace it, I'm not sure how much of it we want to pull out. Second.
Any other questions on that, Lee?
Any thoughts on Mitt Romney announcing he's not going to run for president?
I hadn't heard that. That was today?
That was today, yeah.
Well, of course, you know, I think a lot of people in Utah would like to see Mitt give it another shot, but I know there's...
I can understand why.
Yeah, we all can, can't we?
But I understand the impacts that has. Well, I don't understand, but I can only imagine the impacts that has on your family and your personal life, and so we can completely understand why somebody wouldn't want to do that. And then of course you've got to weigh the environment and the atmosphere on whether you're able to give it the energy that will take to actually, hopefully become the president. So, yeah. Anybody else have a comment on that?
I think the last 2 terms that he has run have been great debates. I think he was a great candidate, and the debates that occurred, I think, brought out the best of the country. And so I applaud him for the service and for all of the time that he has put into public service, not only as governor, but also in his 2 attempts at the presidency. I just know how much of a commitment it is, not only to him, but to his family. And so I just applaud him for all of that public service.
I'd probably agree with that. And thank him for his service, but I think we're all disappointed. As I look at his life, it seems to me that he's been a turnaround guy with not only companies, but the Olympics. We in Utah understand it because, I mean, most Olympics go bankrupt, and most don't have enough money to complete the job. But he not only took an Olympic event that was challenged because of 9/11 that happened a few months before with lack of attendance and financial challenges, made it profitable, and we still have trust money that we're paying for the maintenance of those events for. And he's got an economic mind, I think, that the country could benefit from, and an ability to solve problems. So I think it's pretty disappointing that he's not running, but we can understand why.
That argument has been a little bit diminished. You know, we looked at him as a turnaround person. I think he was a great candidate when unemployment was up around 10%, and now that's changed quite a bit. I don't know if that's one of his considerations, but you're not going to run on turning around the economy. this go, well, we don't know what the economy is going to look like next year, but I would, unless there's some catastrophic happening politically in the world, I think the economy is going to improve. Any other questions? Okay, thanks. Oh, any other questions? Nothing from, okay.
You guys aren't trying hard enough.
I have
All right,
one
study.
question. I have one question before we stop. I think we need to put the president on the spot on the Super Bowl.
Go Green Bay.
Kansas City for me, so we get there. Alex Smith.
Get out of here.
We know where you're at.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.